mainly we know you for property. What is the go-to in property right now?
The whole model that's been, shall we say, preached for the last 15 years is now redundant. Money is free and it grows on trees. Sadly, it doesn't. The merry-go-round has stopped. The new world is...
Do you think banks are fair?
Bank are buying money. But do the Bank of England actually dictate the rate? Well, actually, no. It's more the Fed in the US dictates our interest rate.
Where's the new money at? And I definitely think the new money is attention.
You've got to evolve. If you don't evolve, if you stay still, you are absolutely going to die. I actually have a media marketing business as well on the side. Wow. People like Ed Sheeran, before they were famous, Elton, John and others are clients. And the key bit of advice to Ed Sheeran was...
Today's guest has gone from working in banks to owning banks. He co-hosts the Baker Street Property Meet. So please welcome Andrew Roberts.
Thank you, Sean. That's very kind of you.
How's it going?
Very good. Thank you very much. Very good on this wet, windy day.
Yeah. I've got a question for you.
Go for it.
How are you?
In what sense?
Just generally, how are you?
Oh, I'm pretty cool. Pretty cool. Enjoying life, living it large, and got a lot of things I'm excited to be doing over the next couple of years.
You keep reinventing yourself every single time, because I've heard so many stories about yourself. 1 minute you're an accountant. I heard you've been working since the age of 3.
Still an accountant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a really handy skill.
Yeah.
Because I did accounting and finance in school as well, university. And once you understand numbers and where to put them, things become a lot more simpler, no?
Yeah. Well, it enables you to very quickly reverse engineer any business, any deal in minutes or seconds. And it's a great way of, if you're having a conversation with somebody, and I've done this before when negotiating a deal, and they're going, oh, well, we can't really give it you because it's owned by this offshore company. So I just went, you got 240 rooms, you're charging this much, your revenue's this, building this size, your energy bill's going to be this, you staff costs, I've counted 5 staff, so you're about this. I said, you're making about this much profit. And they went, you're within a couple of thousand, mate. Mm-hmm. Here's our management accounts. And you can strip back a business in minutes very quickly and get to somebody's profit or what their angle or hustle is, or how their balance sheet's working. I mean, a lot of people take WeWork as an example of jumping up and down. But what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of the debt on WeWork is lent from their own company to their own company. So are they going to call in that debt? Very unlikely.
Yes. So
it gets you under the hood of stuff and you see things differently.
Sure. Do you know something it's weird how numbers work and how life works.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, let's say, I think there's a real relationship between influencers now and business people. I think influencers are looking for business people, and business people have the attraction to influencers, because businesses want attention, which influencers have, and the influencers want to monetize what they have, but they
don't know what to do.
So imagine you've been to drama school, you know how to talk on stage, you know how to perform, you know how to get views, but then how do you monetize that? So how do you meet that business person who's going to put you on steroids?
Well, that's a great one. I've helped a number of people do this. I actually have a media marketing business as well on the side.
Wow.
And people like Ed Sheeran, before they were famous, Elton, John and others are clients.
Wow.
And I have given them strategic advice. And the key bit of advice to Ed Sheeran was, listen, whatever the industry says, do it. Because at the end of the day, the industry is bigger than you. The industry will milk you while it can and spit you out when you go, no, my ego's getting in the way now. Mm-hmm. And you've got to recognize your place in life and your place within a system or an industry. So, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
No, you've hit the nail on the head, because I think as business entrepreneurs, you have to think a little bit rationally. What is it? Yeah. What is it that we want? What's the end goal? I think we normally start backwards. Would you say?
Yes, to some extent. It's about understanding a business model and where it works, what the levers and drivers are, and which levers and drivers you need to pull in order to get the optimal results from it.
Mainly, we know you for property. What is the go-to in property right now? Because the standard formula of I'm going to buy this 3-bedroom house, it's £500,000, I've got to put 150,000 down, and I'm going to make a whipty £400 a month. That's broken now.
Well, the whole model that's been, shall we say, preached for the last 15 years is now redundant. There's a massive change in the economics around the property sector. Interest rates have risen, therefore yields have risen, therefore bank expectations have risen. When you look at things like people who've built out a HMO, they've done a back-to-brick strip out, they've put in top-spec kitchenettes, en suites into these rooms, they've refinanced it on a commercial yield. When they're coming up to remortgages, they're hitting the buffers because the yields have dropped because the interest rates have risen. Therefore, they're being expected to put money into that deal. So all of a sudden, what was their jam has suddenly turned into a liability, and they're having to reinvent themselves. So 2024, and what myself and my business partner Randon are doing, is helping people to actually navigate out of problem strategies that they've got into a new world. So all of that will be coming up. And I know you attend our Baker Street every month, so you'll be seeing more, and you'll be seeing it first before everybody else.
Do you know what I really love about you, Andrew? You always have all the facts and figures right in front of us. You have cycle charts. You know what SONIA rates are doing. And explain some of that stuff to us, because some of our viewers won't even know what a SONIA rate is and some of the details that you look for, because it's almost like you've got a crystal ball in your hand. Like, you can predict what's happening in the UK because of the amount of knowledge you've accumulated and the patterns that you see. So
I think I'm different to a lot of people. Some people are very strategic. Some people are very tactical or operational. Some people are very detailed. I can actually go up and down that and join at any point without blinking an eye. I mean, you say what SONIA rates? SONIA rate, very simply, is the rate at which a bank will lend money to another bank. And they lend it on 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 and 30-year terms. Why is that useful? Well, it tells you the trajectory that the banks are expecting the interest rates to go. Therefore, if you know where interest rates are going to go, you can build that into your own business model and go, well, actually, the banks are predicting interest rates are going up 3% in 5 years' time. Am I going to be charging enough in rent? Am I going to be able to fund this deal? So you will be able to predict with a bit more certainty than other people who are going, well, interest rates have been 0.1% all this time. It'll stay the same forever. That was a blip in a 300 years worth of data of the Bank of England. That was the anomaly. And people have been treating it like it's the normal and money is free and it grows on trees. Sadly, it doesn't. The merry-go-round has stopped. The new world is 4 to 6% range, and that will be the range going forwards for the next 15, 20 years.
Do you think banks are fair? Because I've had some people who are been on on fantastic rates with the bank, and they've got a very good salary, and all of a sudden they've lost their job. And as their renewals come, the bank goes, well, we can still lend to you, but instead of 2.5%, we're now going X amount percent, which is 4 or 5% more. And it goes like, hey, how does that even make sense? I'm earning less than before. I'm always paying you on time. I'm earning less than before. And now you want to charge me more.
It's not about what the bank see as fair. The bank are buying money. And the Bank of England effectively dictates in the UK the rate at which that money is lent at. But do the Bank of England actually dictate the rate? Well, actually, no. It's more the Fed in the US dictates our interest rate. Therefore, watching what's happening in America is a big clue as to how you can benefit here in the UK and get ahead of the curve. Because I liken it, we're a very tiny island. And although we like to think Britain is big and it's great, it is big, it is great. But in the grand scheme of the world, we're just a dot. We're a bit like a Caribbean island off the shores of America. And as a tornado blows through, all of a sudden, we get buffeted around in that tornado tailwind. And we just have to accept our place in the world.
Are you still buying?
Yes, but buying things which I'll be sharing next year. Okay. So, like with anybody who does something, you get in ahead of the curve, you test it, you prove it, and then you share it.
You've been in property for quite a long while, and obviously it's quite a lucrative game if you know the rules of the game, like they say.
Yeah.
What is that thing that keeps you buying, keeping active? Like, it must get past a point of just money.
I don't think it's ever been money. To me, I like challenge. I like to do things other people say, you can't do that. So to me, it's like proving other people wrong. Yes, you can. It's about your mindset. I know you follow some of my social posts about positivity and mindset and belief. And that sort of thing, it sort of blows people out of the way. Well, how did you do that? You must be superhuman. No, I just apply myself where I need to. And that's pure and simple. I also know I love dopamine hits and doing a deal. And it might be you're doing a deal and you have to create mini hits within a deal. Oh, yes, we've just got planning. Yes, we've just got, the build team on board with this. And yes, we've just finished. So you have to create yourself mini dopamine hits to keep your self going. And that to me is what drives me, is the buzz of life and being alive.
Yeah. Do you think that's also dangerous? What happens when that day where nothing's happening or going on?
You can have flatline moments, and I have had periods in my life when I have had flatline moments. But at the end of the day, we operate how we operate. Yes, for some people it can be exceptionally dangerous. I know some people challenge me and say, you're too driven, too focused, you work too hard. It's what I get off on. I work really hard, but then I also have blocks and I go, right, I'm off radar now. This is it. This is my downtime. So I might work exceptionally long hours and push myself hard, but then I have breakout periods, which is your recovery. It's a bit like a sportsman. You train hard, you do your race, you have a recovery. You train hard, you do your race, you have a recovery. So I liken it to that sort of thing.
I like what you've said there, like that little space of you time, unwind and reset as well. Because I don't know if you've watched the sitcom sort of Friends.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't have a TV.
Okay.
You were talking about a TV celeb a second ago before we came on air. And
Maya Jama. We was piping with Maya Jama. You don't know who she is, bro.
Sorry.
But okay, well, Friends is one of the biggest TV shows in the whole of America, which is 50 times bigger than the UK. But yeah, there we go.
There you go.
A lot of our viewers will be watching that. And one of the stars was actually Matthew, and, a phenomenal star. A lot of people feel that these stars are part of their life because it's part of their childhood.
Yeah.
They have to tune in. I think he was around 54, and I think he drowned in his bathtub.
Very sad.
Alcoholism. He spoke on many podcasts about alcohol's not your friend. And he had. He looked like a shadow of who he used to be, put on bags of weight, aged terribly. Exactly. And
are you saying I'm putting on weight and aging?
No, I'm not saying that. You look really good, which is what I'm trying to pull out here, because certain times you can have the cameras on you, spotlights on you, you have the fame, glitz, glamour around the right parties, around people who you think are your friends, and they just want to have a good time, and they'll be like, look, have some of this, you'll have a really good time, even better, a higher high. How do you stay grounded? How do you still know who you are, even though your lifestyle's going up, you're driving nicer cars, you're living in better houses, your network of people around you is a higher caliber, there may be other temptations around. How do you keep it, like, how do you
I think you've got it
keep
wrong.
It simple.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, I think you're looking at it wrong. And forgive me for being brutal on you there. Everybody's equal in my book and in my eyes, and I'm not afraid of doing anything that anybody else on this planet does. I liken myself to somebody who's very grounded, very simple. And I know I've been on building sites and people have said, you can't do that. Excuse me. And I'm in there, sleeves rolled up. I'm not afraid of... I've worked out where my boundaries are, but I'm not afraid of things. And I treat everybody equal and with equal respect. I don't see myself as any different. I still pop along and see my parents. I've got wonderful children. I love to just do the simple things in life. Last week was one of my down weeks. I went out walking for the day with my partner, and we just walked. And we just absorbed the beauty of the scenery, the breath, the fresh air, and we just enjoyed the moment. And that's what you've just got to do. You've got to recognise we're all equal.
Well, these days, a lot of people have got neck problems purely because they're doing that all the time. They're looking down at their phones, and all they're doing is endless scrolling and endless comparing themselves to someone else's 20 years of hard work. And why haven't I got that? Or I've now got this new skill, but they're earning 200,000 a year. I'm earning £200 a month. Sort of, why am I not earning that? And they just want that sort of instant gratification almost. First of all, I want to ask you, what do you think of technology and AI?
It's great. It truly is great. I know I employ it in my business. I know we employ it. When I say we, Randon and I employ it in that business. It's very empowering. It enables your productivity to improve significantly, used in the right way. And I think that is the important thing. I mean, something you may not know, and when I was recruited into the bank, the reason I was recruited was I was actually a programmer as well as a chartered accountant. And because of that, it gave me that unique skill. And they wanted computer systems building, and the IT team were taking too long to do it, and they wanted it in the finance department. So technology is just part of what I've done since a very young age.
What do you say, like, to people? Because it looks like you use AI and technology to your benefit.
Yeah.
You've monetized it as a skill and how to add value. But certain people are using AI to change the way their face looks. You see somebody's profile picture and you go, they look really good, etc. And then you meet them face to face and you're like, you look like a shadow of that person. And probably people feed off energy. You can see them, and your energy level might go low, and it affects their mental health, where they're like, well, people were messaging me lovely online and I meet them face to face now and I don't feel the same energy. And then they go into that spiral of sort of negativity.
Well, that AI has been around years. Look at Snapchat. Look at filters in your smartphone. That technology has been around years and years. I mean, I went to a talk many, many years ago at my daughter's school when she was still at school. And they'd got a speaker in there. And he was basically saying, girls, the job you're going to do probably hasn't been invented. If I said to you MySpace, you girls would all giggle because it's gone out of fashion. And it's now... But at the time, Instagram didn't exist. So jobs are being created constantly, and technology and AI and the world is creating new roles and new opportunities, and you've just got to keep moving into that. You're on TikTok. If I said to you 5 years ago, mate, you're going to have a big TikTok following, you'd have gone, huh? What?
What's TikTok?
The clock? Sort of thing.
It's true.
And you wouldn't have ever envisaged you were going to be somewhere that you are now because it didn't exist.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes as a businessman, as you go along, you realize I've maybe clocked one game. I'm not at the top of the tree, but I'm doing well and it prods along. But you also look at businesses and say, where's the new money at? And I definitely think the new money is attention.
You've got to evolve. If you don't evolve, if you stay still, you are absolutely going to die. You have to keep moving to move forwards.
Yes. I like that. I like that a lot. Staying on that AI topic for just a little bit longer, do you watch boxing?
Sadly not.
No?
Sadly not.
Okay, well, here's a scenario for
I've seen you with a few boxers.
So Tyson Fury is the world heavyweight champion. And now they're having all these crossover fights. So he's just fought a UFC champion. Mm-hmm. And it's just about the money. Yeah. And it's about bringing two different audiences together. The world heavyweight champion of UFC against the world heavyweight champion in boxing. Surprisingly, the UFC fighter Ngannou did phenomenal. He even knocked the champion down, and it was just like a real taboo because Tyson Fury's only ever done boxing. It's his game, his ring, and they've gone in there and everyone scored it that Tyson Fury's got beat. However, the businessman in me steps back and goes, he's a champion. It's in Saudi. They've got money. Ronaldo's there. Every single influence you can think of. Bollywood stars, Hollywood stars, famous boxers, legends. They're all there. It's all about money. Now, if this guy loses his,
win you win, lose you still win because you go home with a good paycheck still.
Definitely. I mean, it was probably hundreds of millions.
Probably a little bit of bruised ego as well.
Yeah, but Tyson Fury actually won it on the scorecard and everybody said he'll win it still. And it felt a little bit unfair. What do you think of AI coming into sports to score matches where it can see 3D of what's a 1 point if you hit in the stomach or 2 points on the head or,
I think it's a benefit. I've been a rugby fan for a very long time and I go to a lot of live matches. Now, rugby has had the referee, the digital referee in the sport and the physical TV ref, which was introduced into football and everybody went, oh, this is wrong. You actually get the right answers and you get the right results. And if there's a set of rules and you achieve the rules and the implementation of it, and you get the right winners out of a sport. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the right thing to do. Humans make errors, and it's interesting that humans make errors. And also, I've been to games and, people have gone, oh, the referee's on their side. If it's a neutral technology, then they can't be on any side.
Yeah, it's true. Some referees get hunted down.
Yeah. I know a referee who had his car picked up, turned around 90 degrees and put back in the parking space and couldn't get it out.
Oh my God. That's a story and a half.
That's rugby for you.
Yes. Andrew, look, you seem like someone with a solid mindset, but not everybody has that. Can you talk to us a little bit, run us through your journey of what childhood, life was for you? Did you grow up in an employed background in terms of your mum and dad was employed, entrepreneur background? Tell us some of your early days.
Yeah. I think perception's not always reality. We all have our own mindset issues. And I'm sure there's days when you drag yourself out of bed and you go, got to do that, and you have to kickstart yourself. I mean, background: mother, full-time mother, father was self-employed. He owned his own plumbing, heating, building business, and hit the market. And this is a big tip: work out your timing in the market and what the opportunities are, because he hit the market at the right time. He won contracts from the coal board to put back boilers behind coal fires. At the same time, he had a contract from the gas board to take coal fires out and put gas boilers in, and a contract with the prison service to put central heating into prisons. Yeah. So he hit a market at an optimal time when we were becoming modernized as a society, shall we say, and heating was going in. And it was just an opportunity, and he seized opportunities as they came up. I was fortunate enough when my mum was pregnant with my brother, my dad would take me to work. And from the age of 3, I would just go onto building sites, to clients' houses, into places that, health and safety executive these days will go, oh, you can't do that. But, this is the real world. A year ago, I was on a building site. We'd hired a cherry picker. It had gone over. We'd been repairing the roof. There was a valley in there, and people were going, oh, we can't get in there. And I said, right, take me up. We'll get that done. I'll make sure it's done. Wow. And I basically said to them, sit on my lower legs. I'm going to dangle out the basket, and I'm going to finish that repair. And I did.
Wow.
I wouldn't expect other people to do it, but I will do it. I've done things that other people haven't, and I can see when people are doing a good job, a bad job, when somebody's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. You've just got to try and suss out who's real and who's hustling and whatever in life.
Mm-hmm. So, I suppose, I see that little, that trait in your younger days from you as well, because right now you do a lot of contracts with councils. It's like you make the chess moves rather than going for individual tenants and having a whole heap. You say, let me just speak to this council. I'm going to shelter some homeless people.
I'm risk averse.
And,
let's be honest. I'm risk averse. I'm a chartered accountant by training, still qualified. And I sit there and I go, do you know what? Why go and buy something and then hope I can fill it, when in actual fact, what I can do is get a contract and then go fulfill a contract. It's safe money. It's long-term money. And it's less hassle.
So how do you build them relationships with councils?
It's not necessarily about a relationship. It's about you have to tender for the business. And generally speaking, the contracts come up once every 5 years. So you have to be in the right place at the right time, have the right systems, the right people in your team in order to take that to the next level. That's very simply what it is.
Where are the right places?
There's a lot of portals out there that advertise council contracts, and not just council, but lots of public sector contracts. And if you're on those portals, and there's probably a dozen of them, councils will basically go, oh, we want a technology solution to do this. And there's lots of technology solutions out there. And unfortunately, this council likes that portal, that council likes that one. You've got to work out where your local council is, or where different service providers are tendering their work if it's a public sector body.
Cool. Because there's a lot of newbies who are watching this right now and saying, look, I'm starting out. How do I start building a network? For maybe some veteran property developers, there's a lot of barriers we don't see anymore, because it's like, oh, I need that heater done. Yeah, call him. I need the electrics done. Or NIC certificate. Yeah, I'm going to ring him. That will be sorted. Yeah. Or your PA sort of do these things. We've got a whole book of things. But some people's like, my phone book's empty.
Yeah.
So where do I go?
That's a great one. I mean, one of the things I do is I walk around, and we did this in Leicester, Randon and I, on one of our projects. We were looking for a builder. So we walked around existing building sites. We got them to show us around. And it's very telling, especially having grown up on building sites. You can see good quality work, average, and oh my God. And you walk around, you ask questions. Be the second smartest man in the room. Do a Columbo. Ask buffoon-type questions and see what answers you get. Use your eyes. Listen with your ears, because often you'll hear banter going on between the crew. Oh, if we just do this, we'll get away with that. You've just got to have all your senses attuned. And, going round, pull up where there's a building with a skip outside. Just knock the door and go, here, mate, I'm looking for a builder. Do you know anybody? If he's not the builder, he will say, oh, well, my mate Sid's doing this. Do you mind if we just have a look around? And you just go and be nosy. People love to show off their work. That is a great way, if you're going into an area or a sector that you've never been in before, of finding people.
I like that. Another question I got for you is, obviously you've got an immense amount of experience. Is there an event that's ever happened in your life, or you've met a mentor indirectly that has given you a piece of advice or experience that has really changed the direction of where you were going?
That's a big question. I think I always listen to what other people have got to say, and I try and absorb and take on board the relevant bits that I can apply to what I do. I think the number one person in my life, I think, that has influenced what I do is my business partner. And we got on really well on so many different levels, and I think we inspire each other. We shared so many common experiences in parallel lives that it's like, well, hang on, and it's almost like we're there together now, and we harness each other's strengths. You do that, I'll do that, and we'll meet in the middle, and there's just total trust between each other.
It's really interesting you've just brought that up, partnerships, because partnerships are the one place where, you know, things can go horribly wrong as well. You jump into the bed in the bed with the wrong person, you know, it can be like chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
What traits do you look for when you're getting into business with somebody else?
Well, for me, I think going back to that example, I've not done a lot of partnerships for the simple reason you've got to know the person really well. You've got to get on so many levels, and you've got to have total trust. And it's not something you can just jump into over the space of, say, 3, 4, 6 weeks. You've got to get to know somebody really deeply. You've got to ask a lot of questions about them, about how they are, about their value sets, because does it align? A business partner is a bit like getting married. And you will observe from statistics, going back to my default trait here, business partners tend to be in business with each other longer than most or average marriages. Therefore, you've really got to get on well, and you've got to just hit it off on every level.
Money changes people. You know, some people are really, really good friends, and then as soon as they start business, it's like it's been the biggest explosion. I've seen my dad and my uncle, you know, have a lifetime of business together through shops and buying property on the side, and then when it goes wrong, it goes horribly wrong. You see 10 years of legal battles going on, and I want this one, I want that one, and up and down. It's just like, hey, you were born in the same nest, we had the same values, you got the same parents, and then just misunderstandings happen, and the only people who really win are the legal teams. You know, you just see big bills of 100k plus going out, and they love it. They go, the longer this carries on, we're getting paid.
Absolutely.
Are there certain exercises you can do with somebody? Like, you know, I'm just thinking outside of the box. Sometimes when you see yourself doing an activity with somebody while you're out and going, let's do this, and you can see some of their traits actually coming out because their emotions are coming out. Their, you know, their real personality, what they can't control when they're trying to catch or drop something. You know, is there other sort of acid tests that you do in your world that you'd look for?
Well, I don't really look to build up lots of business partnerships.
Sure.
I mean, to me, like with Ranjan, we'd known each other 10 plus years.
So what traits?
Through business.
Did you have
we
the
go
same
on holiday,
traits?
we socialise together. We have so many overlaps in what we do. You really do know the person after a very long period of time.
And what attracted you to get into business with Ranjan? What did he bring to the table that you didn't have? Or what were you like? What were your similarities that would put it on steroids?
I think it was similarities that put it on steroids. It was more, you know, hey, let's test working together doing this. And we started coaching commercial property investment, because that was really how I got into property, was commercial property. And that's something that Ranjan's renowned for. And we just gelled. And then we went, well, I'm doing this event, you're doing that event. Why don't we merge? Why don't we do this? And things just naturally evolved. There was no,
Forcing.
right, we're going to do this. It was just evolution, Call it like dating. You're on a date with a girl. It's the first time, and I'm talking to you as a boy here. When's the right moment to lean in for the kiss? Sorry. What's he doing?
So he says that Randon says he bought the best jokes, basically.
You brought the best jokes. Oh, thank you. I think this is the point where we say he's actually sitting offset, just watching what's going on and giggling away.
Yeah. He's pointing a gun at you, in case you say the wrong thing.
Well, his jokes are better than mine, but he is a dad and he does give dad jokes. I'll give him that. But at the two of us, Sean, who's the younger of the two of us?
Do you know what? I'm not even going to say. I'm not good in that department. Give me a pound note. I'll tell you what to do with it. But I want to ask you, right? You're 18 now.
I'm 18.
You're 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're
going into a job 25,000-30,000. You've got bills, high rents to pay. Your disposable income's probably £500 a month. What are you doing over the next 10 years? So from 18 to 28, and you want to become successful in terms of you want to be financially free or something on a level where you don't have to worry about your bills anymore. What's your strategy? How are you doing it? How are you going about it?
Yeah, great question. For me, I've never had one job. I was younger than the age legitimately to have a paper round. I had a paper round. With that, the guy who owned the newspaper shop said, I've got 4 cars, my wife and 2 daughters. Do you want to wash them on a Sunday? So I was doing that. Their car park was opposite a VW garage. They said, I like what you're doing. Do you want to come and help us and do some cars? I've always had multiple jobs in whatever I've done. So I would say if you're only doing one job, what are you doing with the rest of your time? Are you sitting there with a bad neck like this on your phone? Or are you actually investing in yourself? You've got to keep learning. Get yourself off useless social media, the stuff that a lot of people share. Stop watching television because that sucks your time. And I was discussing yesterday an app called Duolingo, which is great because it's took the psychology of social media and applied it to an educational background. And I thought, that's really smart how they've done that. And use the psychology that the social media apps are using to actually drive yourself forward and take yourself forward. So don't just sit in one job. Look at improving your knowledge set. I had... very briefly, I came out of the education system at the age of 18 with my A-levels. I went, I could go to university. But the newspaper headlines at the time were, people coming out with master's degrees cannot get jobs as bin men, because it was a massive recession. And I went, the thing that they're telling me is get yourself experience. So what I did was got a job. And then I did the study, but I did it part-time at university, evenings and weekends. So I studied 2 evenings a week, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and had a full-time job. And then in the gap time, I also had a side hustle as well, working in a bar. So I was properly rinsing my hours.
Wow.
And I did all of my qualifications working full-time whilst doing that, and got myself qualified that way.
How did you control your spending habits? A lot of people earn big.
I didn't have time to go spend.
Fair play. Fair play. Because a lot of people go, I need confidence, so I'm going to have to buy this Gucci belt. That's going to cost me most of my salary. But it means when I walk into this bar, people see it and they think I'm a somebody.
Do you know what? You've been hoodwinked by the marketeers. No, seriously, you've been hoodwinked by the marketeers. What are you doing? You're buying a belt that somebody's gone, I've got this brand and I've just stuck the brand on. That's it. It's the same product as somebody else has got. I'm not a brand aficionado of any type. To me, I've got to feel comfortable in myself. I've got to feel professional in the way I dress, in the way I present myself. You may or may not like my flowery shirts, my loud shirts, my jackets, my zebra tuxedo. It's my style. Everybody should just be themselves and have their own style and not be dependent on, I've got to have this to keep up with the Joneses. If you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, you're never going to be financially free because the Joneses are always one step ahead of you because that goalpost keeps moving. Be yourself. Invest in yourself.
You seem very comfortable with yourself. Have you always been this person?
I've learnt more about myself as life has gone on, and I guess yes is the answer, but I've met your two wonderful young gents, fantastic guys, really great question as well, and children develop you and they give you insights that you didn't ordinarily have. It brings a different focus on life, so you're constantly growing. And even though my children are now in their 20s, I sort of look at it and go, I'm still learning off them. And they're pushing my boundaries. And they say when they're little, it's hardest. No, it actually gets harder as life goes on. It changes and you have to keep adapting and changing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another lady who came on the podcast, Nina Oleg. She's an inspirational, motivational speaker, speaks in House of Commons, etc. And she always says, it's us that must listen to children because they teach us.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good what you've said there. Andrew, what is your message on this podcast?
I think for me, don't stand still in life. Keep going. Keep pushing yourself, keep learning. If you stand still, you're going to get overtaken by the crowd. And one of the things that I'm actually delivering in a talk next week is last year's strategy. People have said, oh, just keep doing the same and you'll get the same results. The problem is, no, you won't. In the current marketplace, keep doing the same and you're going to go backwards because the metrics have changed. And if you don't adapt, you're going out of business. And how many businesses are we seeing going out of business right now? Looking through the auctions, how many lots in the auction catalogue are by order of the administrator? Because people have stuck to doing the same.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You've got to change. You've got to adapt. You've got to move when markets move. You seize TikTok, I said earlier, and you will seize whatever the next platform is that also comes along. You have to adapt.
You have to adapt, and if it's evolution, isn't it?
Yeah,
only the strongest survive. Really,
we invented the wheel. We didn't stop there. We then invented the motor to drive the wheel.
I love that, Andrew. Andrew, if you let everybody know how they would reach out to you, tell us a little bit about, what days the Baker Street event, how they follow you on Instagram, and just look straight into your camera. Yeah,
sure. Well, follow me on @PropertyWithAndrew across all of the social channels, Property with Andrew. You can meet me and my business partner, Ranjan Bhattacharya, at the BakerStreetPropertyMeet.com. We usually meet around the last week of the month, usually the last Wednesday, but occasionally it moves. And it's at a brilliant venue where we have 300 plus property investors, the best networking in the country, the #1 property event. You're a regular there. Do you love it?
I do love it. You've got a great bunch of people. You always get good guest speakers that share their journeys, and the economic advice that you bring, it puts it on steroids. Like, you think a little bit more out of the box. So I really enjoy it, Andrew.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. Click in the link above because you're going to see a special little interview with Ranjan and Andrew together as well. And I've got a little bone to pick with you before I leave. 87% of you are not subscribed. So before you leave, make sure you smash that subscribe button, leave us a comment, leave Andrew a comment. I'll make sure he gets it, and share this with someone else. See you on the next one. Peace.